Air Peace flights. We go over to Vanguard newspaper. The major headline here reads, and I quote, Oshun decides. Candidates talk tough, unveil plans for state. We also have here 2027 polls, NHRC, CAN, PFN, Kwakwanso, Nok Sheikh, Jingir. Also here we have infrastructure terrorism, how scavengers wreak havoc on public facilities. And lastly, US-Iran crisis pushes oil to $87 per barrel. Nigeria gains $22 per barrel. We go over to Guardian newspaper. The major headline here, it reads, and I quote, Air Peace versus unions. Chaos as passengers, airlines suffer losses from over 80 cancelled flights. Also, Obasanjo, Jonathan, others seek overhaul of Nigeria's democracy governance structure. And lastly, Orire abduction. Oyo probe panel seeks public evidence as DSS releases artisan. You can find all of these headlines alongside others, many others, on the said national dailies. This part of the show, as always, is proudly brought to you by Multina as we await the arrival of our very own seasoned analyst who's going to be joining the show. Let us take a look at today's stories. All right. First off, we have one story here that begins in particular with the state of democratic institutions in Nigeria. This is one that involves a former statesman and a former governor. Obasanjo Obi demand major shakeup of democratic institutions. According to this report, former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo and the presidential candidate of the Nigeria Democratic Congress for the 2027 election, Peter Obi, have criticized Nigeria's democratic system and institutions, with the former statesman Obasanjo calling for an African model of democracy and Obi alleging widespread institutional decay, which they spoke about at the 2026 Goodluck Jonathan Foundation Democracy Dialogue in Bauchi State, the state capital. Now, we also know that both called for major reforms to Nigeria's democratic institutions while arguing that the current system is weakened by institutional decay and does not adequately serve its citizens. A few things to consider. Obasanjo said Western liberal democracy adopted by many African countries has failed to nurture the continent's diverse history, culture, and values. Also, he mentioned concerns over the increasing influence of money and inducements in politics, which is the norm today. And lastly, he mentioned the underrepresentation of women in Nigerian politics, going on to say that no woman had become a governor in Nigeria in over 4 decades.
When looking at this story, there are several questions that come to mind. Should the Western powers be blamed for Nigeria's poor democratic system, even after all these years? In what ways can our local diversity strengthen Nigeria's institutions? And is Nigeria's democracy failing, or is it an institution problem? We'll be asking our analyst that, and we also have another story that we'll be looking into
shortly. All right, but just before we move on to the next story, a little bit of thoughts. There's something Chief Olusegun Obasanjo mentioned that I quite agree with, right? So the reason I want to highlight this, he mentioned that a lot of African countries have failed democratically because we adopted a Western model, one that was built for the West, but not the African society. We know that the African society is made up of kingdoms. Unfortunately, colonialism took place, and Western powers came into the picture, drew borderlines, and told kingdoms to become one nation. Till today, a lot of African countries are still tribal minded, kingdom minded, rather than nationalist minded. We have our very own analyst in the studio who's joining us. It's been a while we had him here. He's joined virtually, and it's good to see him as always. Mr. Showomi. Good morning, Mr. Bioden Showomi.
Good morning,
Mr. Bioden.
It's good to see you.
I missed you both.
Yes, we missed you. We missed you.
Did you travel?
Yes, I did.
I hope you enjoyed your trip.
Yes.
Was it a holiday?
No, not working holiday.
I was going to ask for chocolates, but okay. All right, Mr. Shomi. So before you came, we just mentioned Obasanjo and Obi demanding a major shake-up of democratic institutions in Nigeria. Yes, sir. And as Ini asked, she asked, should the Western powers be blamed for Nigeria's poor democratic system? Remember, Chief Olusegun said that we adopted a model that was given to us, one that was made for the West, not for Africa. So should the Western powers that colonized us, should they be blamed for our poor democratic system? And in what ways can we nurture our local diversity? He mentioned we should, Oduduwa Republic, Danfodio Republic. He mentioned that, like, if we had those in place, we wouldn't struggle with democracy, because to him, it's clearly not working.
Yeah, I think Obasanjo is right. He's been very forthright in his comments on the need to restructure the country one way or the other. I'll put it that way. That's my own word. He has always been commenting on the fact that colonialism drew the borders and then ignore the ethnic configuration of Africa, and therefore imposed a political model which they think will work in the interest of their own economy rather than in the interest of forging unity and progress, political progress in Africa. So he's been saying that for a long time, since he left office, through East Africa's Leadership Forum, and he has also said it abroad in several times. He's not only the one. There are so many eminent scholars that actually shared his conviction. Even before Obasanjo, this Kenyan professor, you need to go and read Walter Rodney, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, and you see how the systems were brought in. I think it's 1885 or 1881 Berlin Conference, drew the borders for Africa they just sat down in Europe and used a pen to draw the border without thinking about these people from the same ethnic groups, or try and put people together in that way, or consulting with their political leaders back at home. As far as they are concerned, if you don't share the Western culture, Western values, and Western educational system, it means you were backward. So that was the thinking behind it. So they drew it, and in the same way, they drew the map of Africa to make it very small. If you look at Africa, you think it's smaller than Greenland. That's not the case. It's the second biggest continent in the whole world, but you won't see that through the map. So it's exactly the same thing that happened. So we now have, more specifically on the democratic culture, you realize that the colonialism actually operated a form of centralized and decentralized political system, centralized economic system with a view to bring in all the goods they need, get them planted there, take them through the railway line and through the sea, to Europe. And the political system, they chose to impose chiefs and emirs and all that. Those who resisted were deposed, forcefully, and then control them directly at that time from the administrative capital. Now, how has that helped us? A situation where in the southwest, for instance, Benin Republic is made up of about 40% are Yoruba people. Actually their territory cut and merged with French-speaking people in Benin Republic.
So they were formerly meant to be part of the
Yes, originally. Wow. And then you look at a situation where, for instance, in the north, you have the vast majority of people in Niger Republic, and most parts of northern Nigeria, are from the same extraction. So why then match them with others? Fulani, Tifi, so on and so forth. So you then they created a new set of problems rather than merging people with shared values, shared traditions and culture together, shared ethnics. They created huge problems in different ways. Till today, you still see communities fighting over land, fighting over one thing or the other. So that does not mean it wouldn't have happened, but it would have been easier to resolve them. We would have had to follow our own model of development rather than an imposed model of development.
All right, thank you so much for such wise words, Mr. Shomi. We quickly go sip our Maltina drink to have good nourishment for our body. We're not done. We have another story that is coming up right after this. And remember, this part of City Press is proudly brought to you by Maltina.
We love
Maltina!
Across Nigeria, teachers are changing lives every day. Now it's time to celebrate them. Applications for Maltina Teacher of the Year 2026 are officially open. If you're a secondary school teacher, register now at www.maltinateacheroftheyear.com. This year's grand prize winner will receive a brand new Honda SUV, 10 million naira cash prize, capacity development training, school infrastructure, and a 1-year supply of Maltina. Second prize winner gets 5 million naira. Third prize winner gets 3 million naira, and the state champions will receive 1 million naira each.
The Maltina Teacher of the Year is an initiative of Nigerian breweries Felix Ohiwere Education Trust Fund, supported by Union Bank, Airpeace, and Honda. Entries close August 7, 2026. Terms and conditions apply.
We are so good, the mother stations had to pack up and leave. City 105.1, we run this city.
For insightful discourse on breaking news.
Starting this hour with some breaking news. Ukraine is claiming its forces have
current affairs and issues shaping the nation.
Somebody that wants to be a leader should know how to convince people so that they can be able to vote for him.
City Press is your go-to spot every weekday from 7:30 a.m. on Breakfast in a City.
Stop. This is off.
It still sounds good.
It's good, but it's not good enough.
Can I get an Amstel Malta, man?
Being your best lives in the details. Again. Yeah, better. But still not your best. Being your best refines you. Aha, yes, that's it. Being your best is not just about dreaming about it. You also have to work towards it. Amstel Malta. Be your best.
Yes, it's still City Press on Breakfast in the City. Welcome on board in case you just tuned in. This part of City Press is proudly sponsored by Amstel Malta. So while we're talking, you can grab a can and enjoy the show with us. We've looked at one story already on City Press and we're about to go into another story. Accounts for 144.86 billion naira Safe Schools Fund, article tells FG. We're about to go into that. We have our in-house analyst here with us, Mr. Builder Shomi. I am Ini.
And I'm the Big P. All right, now the second story, the headline reads, and I quote, account for 144.86 billion naira Safe School Funds. Atiku tells federal government. The former vice president and the African Democratic Congress presidential candidate, Sir Atiku Abubakar, has challenged the federal government to explain how the said sum was deployed. And, this comes amidst the reports that insecurity has forced schools to shut down in about 40 local government areas, predominantly in the northern part of Nigeria. He has requested for details of the funds released, the beneficiaries, and the schools covered, including the security infrastructure that was delivered. Now, a few things to consider. According to him, budgeting money is not the same thing as securing schools, because announcing programs is also not the same thing as protecting children. In his words, a true measure of a safe schools program is whether the kids can actually go to school safely. And according to this little test, he feels the approach is failing. Mr. Shomi, I want to ask, when it comes to this said sum, it's a huge amount, 144.86 billion naira. Is this a true, or is there any true reflection of this sum in our educational sector? Has it gotten better with some of these schools? We're seeing cases of the Orire local government, the abductions, and then in the northern part of Nigeria, the closure of schools. Is it justified, this said sum, that indeed it's making an impact in any of these schools?
To start with, the 184 billion Atiku is asking people to go, the federal government to account for, is grossly inadequate if you want to protect our schools. That is why, that explained why many state governments did not join that initiative. Most state governments, and then many, let me use most, in the north, refused to join it at that point in time. The issue is not just a recent introduction. It's been ongoing, right from the days of Jonathan. And because the money, really, apart from the 184 billion budgeted, the money in reality may not even be there. I mean, you're talking about budget performing 50%. So therefore, you only have half of that money available for all the schools in Nigeria. Do you know how many schools without perimeter fencing? That's the minimum you can do to fence schools. You know, except in modern cities like Lagos, Abeokuta, Enugu, Owerri, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Kano, Kaduna. Go everywhere. Most of the schools are not fenced outside the state capital. So where you don't, and that is why you see the terrorists, they don't go to the state capitals, they go to big towns and villages where the schools are. They can easily walk in, take the kids and mash them out, and that is the starting point. The second issue is security. Even somebody, a poorly trained security guard, to even man the gates and stop the kids from wandering when they are supposed to be in school and wandering away, or stop kidnappers from moving in, you know, or to even raise alert, or even to help call the police in. They are not there. These are very basic things, you know. So therefore, what you see is that the money they're asking the government to account for is grossly inadequate. Atiku should be calling for more increased funding for Safe School initiative. In my view, I think if we're talking about 1 trillion, probably we are still scratching the surface. That money is grossly inadequate, whether accounted for or not. So we need a proper funding of the Safe Schools initiative. Otherwise, our kids will always be vulnerable.
So when it comes to safeguarding Nigerian schools, is it about a huge budget or transparent reforms rather?
This issue is even beyond transparency. The physical construction of those perimeter fencing has to be, we have to undertake them, whether we like it or not. One, it's again more complex. Don't forget, you have 4 levels involved in providing education in Nigeria. The first one, you have the federal government schools. The second one, you have the state government schools. And the third one, the local government schools. And the fourth one, the private sector. Who are you going to use public funds to build for private sectors? Are you going to use the federal government funds to build for the state, or the states to build for the federal government? These are major issues which we need to resolve one way or the other, and then ensure adequate funding. I think the starting point should be at least about 1 trillion naira, you know, for the school safe initiative. I'm not even saying that 1 trillion naira should be the budgeted amount, the released amount, because
but can we afford it right now with the current economy? Can we?
Look, if you look at the cost of securing those children, is part of the national security budget. If we keep looking at the cost of adding it to education, then we'll begin to say, oh, maybe we don't have it. We should look at it as a national security issue. If we don't do that, and I think federal government needs to come in, because some of the state governments will tell you that they can't afford it, is not their priority, but it should be their priority. And we should make sure that funding, special funding, is available to ensure that the Safe School initiative is really real, in real terms.
Thank you so much, Mr. Biodun Shomi. We want you to be a part of City Press this morning, reacting to the stories we've discussed today on the show. You can call the number 0700-1051-1051 or drop a message on WhatsApp 0909-916-4403.
Good morning.
I'm number one.
Good morning.
All of you in the studio. More blessing for all of you.
Amen. Welcome to the show. You have 60 seconds.
Thank you. And my name is Prince Wires, calling you from Oshodi, the city in the center of Philippi. Now, I send the statement.
Oh, sorry. You might need to call back. We're also streaming live on YouTube and Facebook at City 1051 FM. And do not forget, this part of City Press is proudly sponsored by Abstel Malta.
Hello, good morning.
Lucky Fraser, lucky me. I come back. You see, now I see the statement made by Atiku about never.
There's something wrong with your network.
Maybe he's not drinking Amstel.
Yes, get a bottle of Amstel
Nice one, Mr. Show.
070010511051, or you can drop a message on WhatsApp 0909-916-4403. You can also drop a message on the YouTube platform at City 1051 FM or Facebook at City 1051 FM.
All right, Jeremiah Lakok from Alakoko says, good morning to you guys in the studio. Bola is a prophet of the APC. His words are coming true. He said the moment you join APC, something will happen to you. Look at this senator, for example. Being a senator doesn't guarantee common sense. Our senators are all stomach infrastructure. Mayor from Ikoton Egbe says, beautiful morning to you all in the studio. Please, what's the noise about concerning what the senator said about the Osun State election? Since 2015, APC came on board. Their language or utterances hasn't helped matters. If a president of a nation can call a region a dot in a circle, the Oba of Lagos, MC Oluomo, Bayo, Nonuga, even the current president have said similar words, and heaven did not fall. So why are we troubling ourselves when the senator is working for his Oga at the top, who is Tinubu, that said all is fair in politics? Abacha, that Wole Soyinka called a tyrant, isn't he better than Tinubu? God help Nigeria. Mayor from Ikoton Egbe.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, Amy.
Good morning, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Good morning.
Good morning, Alaji.
My sister there.
Good morning.
Thank you. Quite some time we have seen me and Mr. Good show me. I hope we are fine.
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, first of all, on the issue of Ahad, because some of the statement you read based on the your comment in the newspaper, especially on the comment of Obasanjo and Obi concerning democracy fallout. You see, when you are in, the issue is that nothing goes around that does not turn around. So when you are in a government, do well, lay a good foundation. You see, this is Obasanjo criticizing the democracy. What did he do when he was in the government? All is after that time. His carrying Ghana must go because of third time. We are now seeing the results of the democracy now. So this is what we are saying. You see, if you lay a good foundation right from time when you are government, the people that follows will emulate it. That is on that. Please, Mr. Bedusomi,
yes, sir.
I want to call the attention of Lagos State government. The so-called scavengers, the Amuwo Joffrey, the first time, you will see the way the scavengers is damaging that bridge. I can't. You see,
thank you, Alaji.
When you are from Lasso to
Thank you so much. Yes, what he said is actually very true. I saw some videos of some scavengers who went to take some irons from the bridge. They were literally breaking the pillars of the bridge.
The K2
yes, the K2 axis to get to get some iron rods. It's crazy.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Lady Amy. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. My contribution is in respect of what Obasanjo suggested, that we have to review our, democratic, our political structure. I personally disagree with him because the Western democratic system that we have adopted is working there in the West, working for the people, for the common people. But in Nigeria here, it is working for the bourgeoisie, So if we are practicing democracy as it's being practiced in the Western world, the people will benefit. But what do we have here? A situation where a few group of politicians.
All right. Thank you for that. Very quickly, we round up by taking these two last messages. Temi Tokwe from a Jagama community says, let's call a spade a spade. There's no element of transparency and accountability under the present administration. The issue of funds used on the school security, which school children and students have continuously been kidnapped, keeps many wondering where all this money is going. What I have noticed under this administration is he keeps dishing out money without investigating or carrying out proper audit on how the money was spent, and the reason is not far-fetched because the present government is running paddy government. God deliver us. Him talk from Jagamo community. And here someone says, good morning City Press. Mr. Shomi needs to be consistent. It doesn't matter whether the budget is enough. What has been spent needs to be fully accounted for. Words from Abel. With that, we've come to the end of City Press.
And do not forget, this part of City Press is proudly sponsored by Abstel Malta. You can grab a bottle, have a drink, and enjoy the goodness of Abstel Malta. We go into another part of Breakfast in the City. We're diving straight into the world of sport. A lot of conversations that we need to have on Sports City, and we want you to be a part of it by calling or texting us. Thank you so much, Mr. Biode Shomi. It's good to have you back.
Thank you for having me.
I am Ini,
and I'm the Big P.
Stop. This is off.
It still sounds good.
It's good, but it's not good enough.
Can I get an Amstel Malta, man?
Being your best lives in the details. Again. Yeah, better, but still not your best. Being your best refines you. Aha, yes, that's it. Being your best is not just about dreaming about it. You also have to work towards it. Amstel Malta. Be your best.
City 105.1. You make me feel good. We know, and you're welcome.
Baby, do you love me? Do you want me? Put your hands all on my body. Don't worry, go crazy. Go crazy, oh baby. Do you love me? Do you want me? Do you hands all on
Time is 8:01 a.m. This is City 105.1 FM. We run the city, and it's still Breakfast in the City. Right now, it's time for sport.
Yes, good morning. Just like any other welcome you, I have to say it's a good, beautiful Wednesday because, it's one day that actually signifies a step closer to the start of, European football action in major leagues. Yeah, some other lesser leagues have resumed action, like Portugal and also, the Eredivisie there in the Netherlands kicked off at the past weekend. But with the UEFA Super Cup upon us today, where we get to see the champions of UEFA and the champions of the Europa League, we'll get to have a taste of what European football will be like this season. And also that leads us into Sports Kick today. Hot take or hot fact: the Super Cup is just friendly with the trophy. My name is Onome.
I'll reserve my comments for Sports Kick when that one starts. But speaking of reserving the comments, NFF, what is an apology without action? That's my question to you this morning.
Election they come this September. Hopefully you will get to answer. But my own says one way swim me past and say, I called yesterday, Elinari Bakina. It was going to be the end of the road for Naomi Osaka, and it happened.
Oh God, have mercy.
Between you and I download you. Michael is name. Good to be here this Wednesday morning. Oh, beef.
You see, I see this Naomi Osaka game. So I was on X yesterday. You know, this normal punters I'll put in games. And I saw the guy. One of the picks the guy put for tennis was Osaka to win. I said this ticket go.
Is Osaka to win one set?
No, he said Osaka. Even you two said no. Let me say, Osaka to win one set. You don't even get faith in Osaka to win.
No, you know the funny thing. Let's go to the headlines, please.
Is that the funny thing?
Let's go to the headlines, please.
I said these tickets will cost.
It's Sports City, not Naomi Osaka City.
Before we get into the
I know
headlines,
Beckham is more beautiful than Osaka.
It's fine. I don't understand. Can we stick to the tennis? I know say set for tennis and then they set for
the tennis game was beautiful, just like the lady that won.
Yeah, outshined Osaka.
Don't forget you can be a part of the show. 0909-916-4403. That's so you can send your message to interact with us. Also 0700-1051-1051.
Okay, let's go into the headlines. Super Cup, PSG battle Aston Villa for club supremacy in Europe. And to international football, NFF apologizes to Nigerians for WAFCON 2026 failure. 2026 WAFCON, Malawi looks to continue fairy tale run. Ooh. And to fencing Commonwealth Championships, host Nigeria win 9 medals. Okay,
you see, this is actually impressive. Firstly, the person who won the first medal for also 16-year-old Sylvia Thompson. 16-year-old won the first medal.
Thompson win.
Yeah, he was the one that won it. So, Amy, do you know the sports fencing?
Yes, no, Young John. I said Young John. Sheldon.
Big Bang Young John Babo. Big Bang John, big team.
Do you know what that technique is called? Did you remember?
I've forgotten what the Sheldon.
It's called touching.
Touching, yeah. Touch. Actually, there's a fencing club on the island that I actually want to join.
It's been played at this competition has been played at the rugby school right there in
you want to join the fencing club? So looking for a way to actualize your touching.
So when you're playing against your opponents, make sure you touch them all over to get a win.
Yes, I will do that.
In basketball in the NBA, 76ers face the New York Knicks on opening day. We'll get into that conversation. And like we teased before, at the Canadian Open, Elena Rybakina beats Naomi Osaka in 3 sets. Let's get into the Super Cup talk, by the way, at this point. We'll come back to that one later. If at all we'll remember, if I want to still drag you a bit, but the Super Cup is upon us. Just coming today, this morning, I saw a few people discussing about this one. Some people already having their take on who is going to win, and you'll be surprised who some people actually think is going to win this trophy. Yeah, in quotes. Yeah, PSG are looking to defend their title against Villa. Last time out, it was PSG up against Spurs in a game where we thought that they were going to lose. They came back to win that one, and here they are again against another English opposition, and this English side will be hoping they will do better than the other English side of last year. But every time it seems like this is a competition, or let me not call it competition, a match that the Champions League winner almost dominates. When was the last time Europa League winner won this one?
The interesting thing is, if you're looking, I think that was 2018 Atletico Madrid. Yes,
it beat Chelsea.
No, Atletico Madrid beat Real Madrid. Atletico Madrid beat Real Madrid. That was the last time that we had a situation where the Europa League winner won it. If you're looking at this millennium, that's since 2000. Of the 26 editions, 18 have been won by the Champions League winner and 8 have been won by the Europa League winner. So generally, the Champions League winner seems to do better in UEFA Super Cups than the Europa League winner, and I don't think that is much of a surprise, because the Champions League is a bigger and more competitive tournament. Each of the last 7 Super Cup titles have been won by the Champions League winner.
Right, for PSG, their side, who obviously home team from France, dominated majorly by the French players. There's the likes of Warren Zaire-Emery. There's a Bakola who is in that team, travel with them. Desiree Doué. Talking about still the man up front at Dembele, who obviously
is not Dembele that you mentioned.
I was going from the less to the more. That's how I was moving. If you notice, I started from Warren Zaire-Emery to Bakola, to Doué.
So Bakola is less than Don't worry, you
Yes.
explain later. You explain
No,
later.
but he is now.
Bakola is less than Due.
Due plays more matches for PSG when they want to play final. Who is
Please, they're in the
starting?
same WhatsApp group.
I'll leave
Is
that in.
Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, then whichever one is good on the day between
So
Due and
France had a
Bakola.
deep run at the World Cup, even though the players had their holiday and they are back. But how would that affect this PSG team? Because if you look at the friendly matches, the way that they be, the sort of players we've been seeing, Mbaye has been having a good time there. But do you think those players will be good enough, fit enough to come start?
Well, they should. They're professional footballers. The World Cup final was about 3 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. I think July 19th, 2026, definitely. So for players who are professionals, you'd expect them to have actually been able to shake off whatever fatigue that they feel. And these are very young players, so I expect them to be 100% heading into this one. They're professionals, but also for the manager, he should possibly look at these players and okay, you guys don't need to play all 90 minutes. You should start perhaps some of those players that he has had in camp who probably either didn't make it to the World Cup or got knocked out early. Yes, they put like that, so he can start these players and then gradually inject those players who were so busy at the World Cup, the likes of Doué and Dembele and other players. I expect Kvaratskhelia to start because let's not forget that Georgia, no disrespect, but they weren't at the World Cup, so he should be the freshman to lead the line for PSG from the wings.
You look at this PSG team, by the way. We hear that they were complaining about the dressing room. I don't know whether that's where they want to spend their nights anyway. UEFA had to give them an additional dressing room where officials would normally stay, even though no officials were displaced, by the way. So
they said they wanted the same size as Aston Villa zone because the particular stadium that they are using, the home dressing room is bigger than the away dressing room.
So which one is the same size? Where they are playing, the away teams that come to play in that league, do they complain?
And so the fact that they didn't complain about something that is absurd. So on a merit. If other people in my neighborhood are okay with the fact that things are not up to standard, does that mean if I now move into the neighborhood I should not complain? If people have normalized what is incompetent in a particular situation, I should now morph myself to fit into the narrative. Mind yourself for a moment.
It's fine. I feel like Enrique should be more concerned about what he wants to do tactically on the day, but also a man that will be thinking about what he does tactically is the team who are considered the minnows in this. Let me not call them minnows. The less favorites in this one to go out there to win. Unai Emery, he's the one that have led Aston Villa to their first trophy in years. He would actually need to pull something beautiful to actually get a win against Aston Villa. What do you think he needs to do tactically to ensure that they can actually get this trophy?
Well, it's very simple. Stick to the regular players. Although Morgan Rogers would be a massive miss, he was one of the best players for Aston Villa last season, and we saw him at the World Cup. So he was quite decent at the moment that he had to come on display for England at the national team, but he's no longer with the club right now. But then again, they have an array of players that can hold their own on a good day, and Aston Villa didn't have a bad season last season, and they were able to crown it up by winning the Europa League. They still have a bunch of the same players who had that amazing, remarkable season with Villa last season in the squad. The likes of Willie Watkins. Watkins didn't really get minutes for England at the World Cup, so I expect him to be fresh. An opportunity for Garnacho to prove his doubters wrong at those at Chelsea and Manchester United. Wrong that yes, he can actually cut it. How beautiful a thing it would be if he goes on to win the Super Cup, the UEFA Super Cup, especially if he scores what could be the winning goal. The likes of Matty Cash at Poland were not at the World Cup, so I expect him to be 100% in that one. Ezri Konsa was amazing at the World Cup. If he's fit and good enough to go for this one. Paul Torres was not on parade for Spain at the World Cup, so here he seems to have the about 80% of the players who made up the backbone of the Aston Villa squad that did amazing last season in the squad, so he stands a chance.
I think midfield wise, normally Unai Emery plays a 4-2-3-1. That's what we've seen for the majority part of his time, especially last season. I think he might have to tweak it. If he's going to play a 4-2-3-1, the person who is directly behind Oli Watkins has to be, in my own opinion, more defensively astute than someone like Buendia, because midfield is a stronghold that PSG has. Yes, their front three can be very, very devastating, but the likes of Juan Neves, Vitinha and Fabian Ruiz, that is one of the most cohesive midfield threes that you see in the whole of European football. He's going to need players that can walk their socks off if they are going to give PSG a game. So it might be a match for someone like Ross Barkley, who can play as an attacking midfielder but also has a bit of running around in his legs. That is what I think they need to do tactically.
Unai Emery always hugs the occasion. He knows how to actually pull off the results on European nights when it comes to final of of events in Europe, and here he is again, and this one considered a final where he's up against PSG. will we see another Unai Emery European Final Classic, and also who wins this time?
Well, it depends on the approach. Both managers could decide to, you know what, let's just go for the kill from start to finish. Let's give the world what we saw of Bayern and PSG, that UEFA Champions League semi-final first leg game where we saw 9 goals. It depends on both managers. But usually the UEFA Super Cup is one tournament that normally we get to see goals in this one, no doubt about it. So I expect both managers to go for the kill. And like we said, or like a lot of people believe, it's a glorified friendly, just having a trophy attached to it. That's what it is. So I expect both managers to approach this thing attacking with an attacking mindset. So I would like some of them, but PSG, of course, the attack from start to finish, no doubt about that. And I expect Aston Villa to try to do the same with the likes of Garnacho. He would want to improve. He want to, should I say, prove his doubters wrong while he wears the colours of Aston Villa in this game.
So who's winning?
No, it's PSG. Unai Emery has a bad record when it comes to UEFA Super Cups.
Yeah.
The 3 consecutive Europa Leagues he won with Sevilla, he was not able to win the Super Cup. Also, Villarreal in 2021, he was not able to win the Super Cup. It definitely has to be PSG that are favourites.
Yeah, that's open secret.
So don't forget, we're asking hot take or hard fact on Sports Kick. The Super Cup is just a friendly with a trophy. Let us know. 0909-916-4403.
All right, let's go over to WAFCON now. It's sad that our Super Falcons are out of the tournament, but NFF is not willing to let go. NFF apologizes to Nigerians for the underperformance of the Super Falcons. Should this apology have a letter of resignation with it?
Michael, I think for once, me and you
can
wholeheartedly agree on something.
No doubt about it. The NFF chairman, we saw what happened when Italy failed to qualify for the World Cup. When they failed to qualify for the World Cup, it's sad that the Super Falcons will have to go through a long route just to nick one of the tickets available, and it's going to be a very long one. And whether the Super Falcons will be able to make it, I don't know. But for the NFF to have actually just come out to say, and we are sorry. No, sorry is not what we want. We need individuals who would, be sent packing from their regular day-to-day activities and duties under the NFF, working with the NFF. They shouldn't be there. And I'm bold enough to say yes. In some other countries, their football chief sometimes would say, you know what, somebody else can do better. Let me step aside. But here in Nigeria, especially in many African countries, they don't do that. They don't do that. Rather, they're even still vying to actually hold on to their seats, or even chasing higher positions still within the NFF. That has actually brought ruins to our football as it is now. Very sad one.
Do you expect a change in how our women's team gets handled in the future?
If we look at what we've seen in the past, I will tell you not to get your hopes up. That is the honest truth. The reason we've been complaining about the Super Falcons is we understand that there's an unspoken law of not rating them as highly as our men's team. The way their preparations are handled, or lack of it thereof, shows you that things are not put into perspective and they're not given the amount of focus that they deserve. Now, the fact that the same set of people who have run our football for some years are looking to continue to run it, I don't expect that we're going to see a change. If there was going to be a change, heads will have rolled by now. That would have shown that, okay, we raise our hands up, we messed up and want to rectify things. I think we're still going to have the same complaints that we've been having for years, and it is so sad. I feel so bad for the girls.
I agree, because see, there's this apology letter. If you take a look at it, it's not even like it's sincerely apologizing for the issues or the problems or whatnot. It's just a pandering to the president,
you get,
because a lot of that, Mr. President, that was what I was saying a lot. I'm like, what is this? You people are not even I don't see any form of contrition here. No, none of it. It's annoying. That felt like a letter to Mr. President at the end of the day. That's what it looked like. I'm like, look at these people.
Because sprinkled, millions of Nigerians are disappointed.
So which 2 teams do you see making the final of this year's competition?
I've always said it, that I believe that Morocco had this trophy, their name written on it, and I know that today's encounter against Algeria is going to be so politically charged because Morocco and Algeria are not on the best of terms, but I think Morocco do enough to get past Algeria. You see that match between Malawi and Ghana, I have a strong feeling that Malawi's fairy tale run just continues. You see those Chewinga sisters, they have the ability to turn a game on its head in a split second. So in my opinion, is the battle of the M's. Morocco and Malawi is the final I see.
Okay, it's actually Algeria Malawi semi-final and Morocco Cameroon. No forget. Yes, if we have defeated Cameroon and Morocco for face, let's not forget.
I've mixed the fixtures up.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I know it's not a Osaka. I'm not gonna mix them, but it's fine. Algeria Malawi. I think it's end of the road for Malawi. The Algerians have been amazing at this tournament, and the only game they lost narrowly to a team that has been one of the best teams of this tournament, which is Morocco. So I think Algeria will definitely make it to the finals. For Morocco Cameroon, well, who knows? Maybe the Moroccans. I think Griselin Chebak may not play part in this one. She picked up an injury in the quarterfinal tie against South Africa when they won that one 2-1. She was the one that actually won the penalty that put the Moroccans a goal up in that one. So very sad one for Morocco. They'll be missing one of their best players from every indication, but I still think they have enough in their tank to get past the Cameroonians. Yes, it was just a bad day in the office. That is a reflection of how women's football has been run in Nigeria. That's why the Cameroonians made it this far, because we had everything in our power to go past the Cameroonians in that one. Certain players didn't just pull their weights in the game as expected. The goalkeeper Chiamaka Unadozie, our coach Justin Madugu, still making the same mistakes, the same errors over and over again, has cost us. But then again, Morocco Cameroon, I think it's end of the road for Cameroon. At least they can't be satisfied with the fact that they've nicked an automatic spot to the World Cup in 2027 in Brazil. That should be enough. So Morocco Algeria final, and Morocco all the way.
So my prediction still stands for the finalists. Forget all. I don't know why I kept my glasses. Morocco is going to beat Cameroon. Malawi beat Algeria, and is Morocco Malawi in the final.
Okay. No, okay. It's all good. Let's get into other sports here away from football.
NBA.
It's been quite a way door transfer window for the past day, so let's just leave that for a bit and talk about the opening day fixtures that were released in the NBA. Yes, and Adam Silver was begging. LeBron, choose where you are going to. Let's do the schedule. LeBron, choose now, please. We need you to choose where you are going to.
I want to quickly put in you on the spot. Your sugar daddy, LeBron James, what's his current franchise now?
76ers now. Anywhere he goes, I go.
So it's got 76ers by the way.
So you're a 76ers fan now.
I'm a LeBron James fan.
So if you take a look at the opening day fixture, it's LeBron James obviously playing on that day. He's over 40 something years and he's still the poster boy of this league in a way, whether I like it or not. So the 76ers get opening day showdown with defending champions at the New York Knicks. You look at also the Spurs meeting the OKC, also Celtics against the Detroit Pistons. Those are 3 games.
Yeah,
is this the biggest?
Narrative wise,
just because LeBron is there,
because LeBron is involved with the 76ers and then the New York Knicks are the defending champions. But honestly, now that repeat of the Western Conference Finals, that Spurs against OKC, because that was one of the most thrilling series I've seen in a Western Conference final in a long while.
The final, even for the length of the season, the matchups, all the games
it was such an amazing one. But I understand the whole narrative arc. People have been saying that if the New York Knicks did not win the NBA championship last season, most likely it's the Knicks that LeBron would have ended with, because they are also an amazing market. But 76ers against the New York Knicks on the opening day, that will give us an idea of how much cohesion can be put together in this 76ers team, because they have a lot of good players on paper. But let's see how they do against the defending champions.
All right. Also, let's take a look at Christmas Day fixtures, because when you take a look at the NBA aside opening day, another thing people take a look at a lot is Christmas Day, and if you are favored to be sharing on that day, it's a big deal for you. The likes of Rockets and Durant are unhappy that a few fans are unhappy that Durant is not on the Christmas Day fixture, but who makes it? Who makes it to the Christmas Day fixtures?
It's no surprise once again that LeBron James and the 76ers are involved in the Christmas Day fixture, and this is heavily narrative driven.
No, tell me who they are playing.
Because they are playing the Los Angeles Lakers.
Wow, really?
So that is a LeBron James derby, because LeBron James literally just left the Lakers to go to the 76ers. So
it just happened they were going to meet the Lakers on Christmas Day.
It was so obvious why Adam Silver needed LeBron to tell us exactly where he's going to, because see, whatever we say, LeBron is not the best player in the NBA. He is not. He's not the best player. There are better players in the NBA right now.
Okay, right now.
But
he's the biggest.
But he's the biggest NBA player. He's the biggest draw. And if you want to sell tickets, and if you want eyes, well, Bayama is not even. He's coming up. Obviously, there are people like
he's the tallest. That's all.
You're really going to make me say this too. Onome's hearing. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the second best player in the NBA after Nikola Jokic. When Bayama is what they call it, Shai Gilgeous is the best player in the NBA.
Michael wants to say somebody's name.
Of course, now. Jalen Brown.
That's not what this might not what needs to win the championship. Michael with your run agenda. That's so I remember the conversation we had some months ago.
But it's fine.
You can't touch SG and Jokic. You should rest too, please.
Anyway, we're looking forward to that one. October 20, that's when the season actually begins.
Yes.
It's still long, small. This is just August 12th. Well, I'm starved anyway. You know what? I'll hold football that's coming around the corner. Alright, let's get into sports kick today. Hot stake or hard facts. Super Cup is just a friendly with a trophy.
It is not a friendly with a trophy, as far as I'm concerned. It's a competitive trophy, if you ask me, because we have the winner of the UEFA Champions League and the winner of the of the Europa League, and there's something at stake, and also bragging rights, and beyond that, to an opportunity for you to assess the level of fitness of your players and know where they are at mentally. And if there's a trophy to show, fantastic. It's enough for you to actually look back and say, okay, yes, now we can kickstart the season and perhaps replicate what they would, or surpass what they did the previous season. Yes, it happened. See PSG were amazing 2 seasons ago when they won the Champions League. They played in the UEFA Super Cup when they defeated Atalanta. Was it Atalanta, if I'm not mistaken, 2-0?
No, PSG. It was
Sports rather. You were 2-0 down and then they equalized for 2-2.
Exactly, and then so why not? And they will be playing another final again today, so with the chance of winning it. So why not? The motivation did there. So it's something to play for, if you ask me.
When you have the two biggest European competitions get winners, and then those two winners get to play a match, there is no way on God's green earth you can tell me that is a friendly. When we are counting trophies for managers, I'll use Pep Guardiola as an example. They talked about how he won 6 trophies with Barcelona. One of those 6 trophies was the Super Cup, because you understand the importance. The finalissima that has started happening recently is a battle of the winners of the Euros and the winner of the Copa America. You're not going to say that is a glorified friendly. When we've seen teams play competitive matches to be crowned a champion of something, and they now meet each other with another trophy on the line, not only is that a trophy, it is a major trophy, because the route to get to this Super Cup no be beans. There are some clubs that will never play Super Cup because they will never win the Champions League. There are some clubs that will never play Super Cup because they've never won a European trophy before. So to want to put this narrative forward that because it's a single match, it is a glorified friendly with a trophy, I'm not on board with that. See, and the person I'm talking to knows himself.
It is, I think this is not a match that is being done for its competitive value. I think it's done for the financial value. That's what it is. Firstly, the winner gets 5 million euros, and the runner-up, the person who loses on the final, would actually go on to get 4 million. That's what it is. So both of them, I think, are guaranteed 4 million, and then whoever wins gets an extra 1 million. That's what it is at the end of the day. And then if you take a look at the revenue, TV about 30 million. Take a look at other things. Sponsorship is of 40 million euros. So it's all of that it generates for one match. It generates a whole lot of money, which is why UEFA hangs on to it. At the end of the day, this is just like the Emirates Cup that Arsenal played recently with Dortmund. That's what it is. I don't think it's needed. I don't think it's necessary. Allow us move on with the season. Allow Champions League playoff finish, and let's get into the Champions League proper and the Europa League proper. Let's move on with that. I don't think it's necessary. It's not.
There's a reason why it's called a cutting razor for European
competition. Which is why it is a minor trophy.
Let me just counter on Ome with 2 quick points. First of all, Ome, if he was on the same level as the Emirates Cup, goals that players score in the Emirates Cup will count to their overall career number of goals, but it doesn't, because everybody sees that as a friendly. This is a competitive match. That's what I'm saying now. So you're talking about money.
You're using bias to
what is bias? It is fact.
Arranged by invitation.
It's not a fact. It's a bias. That's one. Two, if we're talking about revenue and money, that means you will tell me that the championship playoff match now is a glorified friendly because it is the most lucrative. That's what you said. That's
the only reason why it is done, because of the money it is generating.
The championship playoff is only done because of the money it is generating, and it's also a glorified friendly.
See, those ones, they are qualifying for the top.
How did we get to the Super Cup?
So if you win Super Cup, what's the significance of it?
you have a European trophy. That's the significance. You already have the European trophy, the UEFA Champions League, and the Europa League. Go home.
And then winning the UEFA Super Cup is also another European Cup.
Please, let's take contribution.
It's because of the money. I'm looking at documents here for
winning the Champions League. I money. Leave him. No, may talk about throwing the Champions League because money is involved.
Let's check out some messages before people tear each other apart. Adegoke Adeshola from Okeodo says, how many times will NFF continue to apologize without learning from their mistakes? The same error will still be, they'll still make the same error in another competition. All of them should go, and they are just after what they would gain in their pocket. I see PSG beating Aston Villa to win UEFA Super Cup. I do not know what Arsenal is doing in signing more players. Do you guys have an idea?
They are interested in winger reinforcement. You might not like the names like Pedro Neto being linked to Arsenal.
Dimejo Logun from Songota says Morocco and Malawi will qualify for WAFCON final. As for NFF, it is better they resign honorably. Very shameful. PSG and Aston Villa will not be friendly match. It is a competition match. Good morning. This is Chigoke. Chigoke says we do not want apologies. We do not want their apologies. All of them in the glass house should just get out, along with their local coaches from Gusau to Shehu Diko to Fini D, who said we do not need tactics to win a game, to Justice Magdugu, who also said older the better. They should pack their baggages out of here. Good morning, Mike O from City FM, from Ikeja rather. A shame no they catch those NFF at all. By now I expect those NFF to get out without saying goodbye. I wish Aston Villa best of luck this night. Another message here from this message is from SND2 Super Cup, a clash of two Spanish coaches. The only advantage PSG has is that they have better players. If they don't use that to their advantage, Emery has to qualify as a coach to hurt them.
That's the quality. I think that's what I'm to say.
Exactly, okay, quality.
This one here from that Stan Quest says Tillmans will be the biggest miss for Aston Villa, so I expect a PSG win. Also, I don't see Super Cup as a friendly because it defines exactly what other clubs will expect from you as a club in the Champions League.
I hope Onome is here,
It's okay.
Innocent Emeka from Ikorodu says if the Super Cup should be played a week after the Champions League, it should be regarded as bigger than the Competitions League.
Bigger than which league?
Emeka from Ogba says Aston Villa will beat PSG. Let Osaka make she resign from tennis. It is not her calling.
Damn, are you feeling good?
Alright,
no, arrange bit. I know respond.
This one here from Kende says, please, how is Ozochinedu condition? I heard he's alive. Congrats to CR7 and happy for him, and also at last done and dusted.
Yes, my baby's married.
So for Ozochinedu, the Katsina United player, he was actually pronounced dead initially, but the media officer of Katsina United said while they were taking his body to the morgue, apparently his body moved and then they brought him back to the ICU. So he's currently in ICU at the moment. At this point, he's not dead, so he's still, there's still hope for him to actually stay alive. We wish him recovery, and also his family and Katsina United. It's not easy. It's not easy. We wish them all the best in this situation and hope that he recovers fully. And that's it on Sports City this morning. Tomorrow morning again, we're here at 8 in the morning. Later tonight at 8:30, we're here for a late edition to give you a glimpse of what's happening in that a Super Cup final. As we touch down a bit on that one. Across all social media platforms at City1051. Breakfast in the City continues here. As you know, Ini already holding the touch here. She's going to continue that till 10 a.m. alongside the Big P.
Yes, coming up next is Quick E. Prodigy will be serving you some entertainment news quickly, and after that we'll be going straight into the 9 o'clock hour where we'll be doing the adult game, the trivia, right? And make cleanse your mind.
I did not say anything. No, I did not say anything.
You stand a chance to win 5,000 naira if you can answer questions. City 105 FM runs
play responsibly.
City 105.1.